So Legal 112, we're in week 5. And there's certain things that you probably knew way before this course, and what we're going to talk about today is in that realm. So in week 5, what should you know about statutes and administrative codes? Well, you should know how federal and state legislation and administrative codes are enacted, how statutes are published, how codes are published. And we're going to continue to practice research techniques for locating statutes and codes. But you know the techniques, so practice is the key term here. And at this point, you should know the role of case law as it applies to statutes and administrative codes. You've had some practice, enough practice to understand the necessity to find case law when you're attempting to understand how a particular statute or administrative code is applied to a given legal issue or set of facts. You've read about classifications of statutes, so let's review those classifications. Public law is one that affects the public generally, such as bankruptcy or tax law, something that applies to or impacts everyone. Private law is a law that affects only one person or is directed at a small group of people, granting them some special benefit not afforded to the public at large. Most of those types of laws deal with classifications of people. Timely topic, immigration and naturalization. Permanent laws remain in effect until they're expressly repealed, and temporary laws have limited language in the statute itself, such as this law shall have no force or effect after May 31st of whatever the year. Now, you know that when researching statutes or administrative codes in Lexis or Westlaw or whatever service you're using in the law office, you'll also have access to annotations. We practice using annotations, the purpose of those annotations, the reason that that tool is provided, and how to use it. We don't cite to the annotation, but it leads us to typically case law. And if we're lucky, case law that is on topic and applies to the jurisdiction that we're concerned with. But in addition to cases, annotations provide extra features such as historical notes on the statute, library references, bar and law review journals, and information that may assist you in understanding that particular law and how that law may be interpreted or applied. You know at this point, better than a quarter of the way into the semester, the process for researching statutes. You review the entire scope of the statute governing your topic. Generally, terms used in the act are first defined, and then definitions are usually followed by rules announced in the statute, and then by penalties for violations of the statute. Assume that each word in the statute is there for a purpose and that the words are to be given their plain meaning. And then we examine the cases that discuss the statute to determine how courts have interpreted those statutes. And remember that it's the province of our courts to apply and interpret statutes and even strike down statutes as unconstitutional. Separation of powers. It's still a thing. You know that the relationship between statutes and administrative code and regulations and case law is an interactive relationship. When people think about the law, they tend to think in terms of statutes or regulations, those things that attempt to direct or provide order to society and our lives that impact, as we've discussed a few times now, almost everything that we do from the time we wake up until the time we go to sleep, and then all during the night while we're sleeping. When disputes arise over the meaning of statutes, it's up to the courts and judges to interpret those statutes. And they give us their interpretations and opinions or decisions, the case law. And they help us understand what the law is, what those words of the actual statute mean, or how they're applied. So once you find a statute that seems to address your client's need, the fact pattern, or the issue, you're always going to want to take that next step. You should stop, reorganize. And then you should go and look at the cases. See what the courts have said in application of that statute or similar facts or issues. You've lived with these things for your entire life, but now you have the knowledge necessary to allow you to go find, apply, and utilize these bodies of law to answer questions that help serve the legal interest of a client or the public, whoever you're serving in the law. So use your knowledge, follow the process. Keep saying this, follow the process. There's no shortcut. If you're taking shortcuts, you're going to get dinged in your grade, but worse, you're not going to commit and learn and be skilled at the way you're going to be expected to do these things, whether you go to work for a lawyer, become a lawyer, whatever you're doing where you're needing to legal research in the law. And that's now, next month, next year, 25 years from now. I still review my citations every single time with an intent towards why we've established we cite the law in the first place, to provide our colleagues, our clients, opponents, the judge, or someone else with a map they can use to find and read the authority we cite as being relevant to our position on an issue. The things we say are binding and lend, the support for the position we are taking in the law. Statute, case, any of our primary and hopefully binding sources of law. Citations like 77 Illinois Administrative Code 500.45. So be conscientious and disciplined about studying these things. Be conscientious and disciplined about practicing these skills. Be conscientious and disciplined about using those skills every time, no matter how complicated or easy the issue or search for the law may be or seem. Every time. And if you do that, you're going to be successful in the class. But as I've said many times, nobody cares about your grade. What they care about is that you've developed the skills and the knowledge and the ability to do the job and do it right as expected in the law. So go do it. I appreciate your efforts these first 4 weeks. As a reminder, we're 1 week into the Lexis certification part of the course, and if you're not also getting that accomplished, well, then you're missing the boat. And if you are getting that accomplished, as one student's already told me, it helps you in doing all the other things. So get on it. It's a huge number of points, and there's no excuses one way or another. You got plenty of time to do it. So get on it. All right. That's it. If you need me, you know where to find me.